Hey, I'm Alex, and welcome to Wealth Unspoken. There's a thinking pattern that keeps people broke. Not bad luck, not the economy, not even where they grew up or what family they were born into. It's a thinking pattern. And the scariest part? Most people who have it have no idea that they have it. I had it for years, and it cost me more than I want to admit. Once I saw it, though, I couldn't unsee it, and that's when everything started to change. Let me show you what that looks like. Here's how the pattern works. Something happens, it could be anything. A bill comes in, a price goes up, an opportunity costs money. And immediately, without even thinking, the broke mindset fires off a response. I can't afford that. That's not for people like me. Maybe someday. That's just how it is. Those four phrases, right there, that's a pattern. And here's what makes it so dangerous. Every time you say one of those things, your brain believes you. It stops looking for solutions, it stops seeing opportunities, and it closes the door before you even try to turn the doorknob. The pattern doesn't just reflect your situation, it creates it. Here's what I want you to understand about this pattern. It's a loop. It's like a broken record that plays over and over. You think you can't afford something, so you don't look for ways to afford it. So you never find the solutions. So you confirm to yourself that you were right, and you think it again the next time. Round and round, over and over. I grew up watching this loop play out in real time. And I don't say that to be harsh about anyone. I say it because it was my loop too. Both of my parents had this same lack mentality. My mom's parents and grandparents had it too, and it seemed to keep getting passed down to each new generation. When I was in my early 20s, I passed on an investment opportunity because my immediate thought was, I can't afford that. I didn't ask how I could afford it. I didn't explore any options. I just closed the door immediately. That investment tripled in 4 years. The thought cost me more than the investment ever would have. Scarcity thinking and lack mentality isn't just a mindset problem, it's a math problem. Every time the loop runs, it compounds. Just like interest, but in reverse. Here's what makes this so tricky. The broke thinking pattern doesn't feel like a limitation. It feels like common sense. Saying, I can't afford that feels responsible. Saying, that's not for people like me feels humble. Saying, maybe someday feels patient. Saying, that's just how it is feels realistic. But responsible, humble, patient, and realistic can also be code words for, I'm stuck. I had a friend in college who was brilliant, genuinely one of the smartest people I've ever known. But every time an opportunity came up, he'd say, that's just not realistic for someone in my situation. He wasn't being realistic, he was being safe, and safety kept him exactly where he was. The broke thinking pattern is comfortable. That's why it's so hard to break that cycle. It feels like protection, but it's actually a limiting ceiling. But here's the good news. If scarcity thinking is a loop, then wealthy thinking is a loop too. It's just running in the opposite direction. Instead of saying, I can't afford that, flip it to, how can I afford that? Instead of saying, that's not for people like me, change it to, what would I need to become to get there? Instead of, maybe someday, say, what's the first step I can take today? Instead of saying, that's just how it is, change to, what can I change about this situation? Same triggers, but completely different responses and completely different outcomes. The way you ask the question is everything, because your brain is a problem-solving machine. Give it a dead-end statement and it stops, but give it an open-ended question and it goes to work. I started doing this intentionally a few years ago. Every time I caught myself saying, I can't, I would force myself to ask, how could I? It felt awkward at first, almost fake. But over time, the answers started showing up, because I was finally asking the right questions. Here's also something most people don't consider. Your thinking pattern isn't just inside your head. It's also in the room around you. The people you spend the most time with are either feeding the broke mentality or challenging it. If everyone around you says, we can't afford that and I'm broke, those phrases start to feel like real facts. Not choices, but facts. And I get it. I had to make some hard decisions about this myself. Not cutting people off, that's not what I mean. But being intentional about whose voice got the most attention in my head. Whose thinking was I absorbing? Whose questions was I asking? Whose limited ceiling was I accepting as my own? Because you don't just inherit money habits from the people around you, but you also inherit their thinking patterns. And thinking patterns are worth more, cost more, than any dollar amount. Now, for the practical part, you can't break a pattern that you can't see. So the first step isn't changing your thinking, it's catching your thoughts. What I mean is, for just 1 week, pay attention to every time you say or think one of the lack mentality or broke phrases like, I can't afford it, I'm broke, it must be nice to have money. Don't judge it, don't fight it, but just notice it and make a mental note of it. Because the moment you can see the pattern, you then have a choice. And the choice is where everything starts to change. After the week, pick 1 or 2 of the scarcity mindset phrases that you caught yourself thinking or saying And every time it shows up, rephrase it with a question or an abundance statement. Instead of, I'm broke or I have no money, say, I am in the process of building wealth. That's it. One swap, one phrase, 1 week. A small first step? Yes. But is it powerful? Absolutely. Because you're not just changing a phrase, you're interrupting a loop that may have been running for decades. These thinking patterns have kept people broke for probably centuries. I know just in my own family, I can trace these patterns back over 115 years. Honestly, it's crazy to even say that out loud. Growing up, this cycle or pattern felt like wisdom. It felt like protection, but it was actually a limiting belief dressed up as common sense. The wealthy don't have better luck. They have a different loop. And that loop starts with a question or a wealth, abundance statement. So, catch the pattern, name it, and swap it out for abundance and wealth statements or a problem-solving question. One phrase at a time, one question at a time. Because the thinking always comes first, and then the wealth follows. I'm Alex, and this was Wealth Unspoken. See you next time.